My name is Jeff Carreira, and I'm here today to speak to you about an approach to meditation called the problem-free meditation system. This is something that I've been developing with my friends here at About Meditation, and I'm very excited to tell you about it because it's the fruit of, for me, over 20 years of serious meditation practice, the last 10 of which I spent a great deal of time teaching meditation, and I feel that this program encapsulates and condenses all of the insight and understanding and experience that I've had over all that time into a program that is both completely accessible to anyone and at the same time does give you access to profound depth. So let's get started. My intention is to produce 3 videos. This is the first. This one I will tell you a little bit about myself, and I'll also be telling you a little bit about the problem-free meditation system, including teaching you how to do meditation according to that approach. And then in subsequent videos I'll be giving you more information and more teaching about what the problem-free meditation system is and what it gives you access to. But in terms of my own story, let's begin with my first encounter with meditation. It was an auspicious beginning. I had decided at some point fairly early on, many years ago, that I wanted to learn to meditate. So I picked up a book, typically, called How to Meditate. And I think that book is actually still available. And I believe it's quite good. And so I read the book. I was very excited. I sat down to my first meditation. I decided that I would do 5 minutes. That would be my first start. So I sat down, I closed my eyes, and I started. And almost immediately, this dialogue started in my mind, which went around, has it been 5 minutes? And my mind would say, I think it's probably been 5 minutes now. And then something else in me would say, no, it's not 5 minutes. It couldn't possibly be 5 minutes. So I think it definitely is 5 minutes. No, it couldn't be 5 minutes. Maybe it's like a minute or 2 minutes. And that went on and on and on. And then when I was sure that I went longer than 5 minutes, I decided to wait another 5 minutes just to be completely sure. So in the end, all this back and forth, I was convinced I'd done at least 15 minutes. And then I said, okay, now it's got to be at least 5. And I opened my eyes, and it hadn't even been 3. And I just took the book, and I threw it in the trash, and I thought, I can't meditate. I know people who are natural-born meditators. They sit down, and the first time they close their eyes on a meditation cushion, they have experiences that make them want to meditate all the time. That was not me. I struggled with meditation, which I think I'd like to use all my years of struggle and the things that I've learned to benefit you. So that was my first encounter with meditation, my attempt to meditate for 5 minutes that failed abysmally. I didn't touch the practice again for quite a while. So let's fast forward now to me as a research engineer working outside of Boston in the telecommunications industry in the 1980s. I had never actually intended to be an engineer. When I was younger, what I really wanted to do was be an artist. But in my family background, being an artist wasn't really an acceptable occupation. And so I decided to be an architect. And as I learned what architecture is all about, I realized it wasn't really art in the way that I was interested in it. So since I did have some interest in science, I just decided to become an engineer. It wasn't anything I'd ever aspired to, but it was easy, the market was booming, and I was in it. And on the day that I'm fast forwarding to, I had decided that I needed to get an advanced degree in engineering in order to be successful. So I was taking my first courses with the idea that I would eventually become get a doctorate in engineering. The course I had registered for had been canceled. It was registration day. There was no way to register except on campus. The registration closed at 6 p.m. I left work early. I was driving down the highway as fast as I could. I was reading the course catalog to figure out what course I could take to replace the one that had been canceled. And I nearly got into a car accident. And I pulled over on the side of the road and I thought, what am I doing? And that's when everything just stopped. And I decided that I realized I was pursuing a life that I didn't even really want. And I was doing it with an intensity and a degree of urgency that I couldn't understand. And I just decided at that point that I was going to do whatever it took to have a breakthrough, that somehow I was locked into ideas about what was important and what was not important, and what I should be and what I shouldn't be, and what the purpose of life was and what the purpose of life wasn't, and whatever it wasn't adding up. And so I went back and I started to study cognitive psychology. I started to read all kinds of books. I decided to re-engage with meditation practice, and somewhere along the line I read about the idea of being left-brained and right-brained. And this was very popular at the time, still is, that the left brain is the more analytic, the rational mind, and it's more logical. The right brain is more intuitive, more emotional, more fluid, and I decided that I was way too left-brained, that I was never going to have the breakthrough that I was looking for if I was going to be so rational and analytic. And so I decided to find a teacher, and I did. I found a New Age teacher to work with, and I picked her. I mean, she was a wonderful person, so obviously that was good. But the main reason I was working with her was because I found myself more or less disagreeing with just about everything she taught. And so it seemed to me that this was perfect, because I was constantly being pushed up against my rational analytic mind, and I was having to keep jumping through all of my complaints and misgivings. And so we would learn about this and we'd learn about that, and I keep thinking, this doesn't make any sense, I don't think I... And then I would calm down and say to myself, no, you're being too left-brained, you need to open up to a more intuitive form of da-da-da-da. And I kept going. I learned a lot from her. But after about 8 months, I decided this was really not it. I mean, I wasn't finding the kind of breakthrough that I was looking for. I mean, maybe I was getting a little looser around the edges. I don't know. It certainly didn't seem like a negative experience, but it wasn't bringing me where I wanted to go. And that's when I started to really start to practice Buddhist meditation, particularly because the mind dharma of Buddhism, the mind teachings, the way that they explain to you how your mind works, I found very fascinating and appealed to my left-brained, rational, logical side. And eventually I encountered a teacher that I had a long-term relationship with, and eventually became part of a spiritual community that I lived in for 20 years. And during those 20 years, I had the amazing opportunity to do as much practice as I could possibly want to do. I meditated hours a day. I would go on retreats where I was meditating from morning till night for 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. And during that time, I started to have breakthroughs and of understanding, of insight, of experience, energetic openings, things I never even imagined were possible. But I was in a situation that was a cauldron for cooking up those kinds of experiences, and I was in constant discussion with people who were interested in it and pursuing what all that meant, and all of that is what I have distilled into the problem-free meditation system. All of the 20 years of experience plus 20 plus years of experience as a meditator, and 10 years of experience teaching meditation, and everything I've learned about the practice and how it works and how best to approach it, and the ways in which people struggle, and the challenges that people have, and the challenges that I had and had to overcome. I'm hoping this problem-free meditation system will not only enhance your practice, but save you weeks, months, maybe years of needing to figure things out on your own. Since if there's anything that I've experienced and understood and learned that I can pass on to you that will save you time in your own journey, that's the whole reason for doing this. So now that I've told you a little bit about myself, I want to teach you two pieces of the problem-free meditation system. And the first is to introduce you to the specific instructions for practice that are used in this system. And you could call this the practice of no problem, because the instruction is simply to have no problem. And the easiest way for me to teach it to you is to do something that I call the 5-second meditation. You remember at the beginning I told my story of struggling with 5 minutes, but I'm only asking you for 5 seconds. And the way that this works is I begin the meditation, and then for 5 seconds we meditate, and then I end the meditation. And during those 5 seconds, your only job, your only instruction is to have no problem. No matter what happens, no matter what you think, no matter what you experience, you just don't make a problem out of it. Just allow it to be exactly the way it is, fine. And you will find you can't possibly miss. This is meditation instructions that anybody can follow the first time without a problem. So let's try it. Just sit wherever you are, comfortably. In a moment I'll say begin, and then you begin meditating, which means just having no problem. And after 5 seconds I'll tell you to stop, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So close your eyes and begin. Now you can end. So that's it. That's the 5-second meditation. And I'm sure that you found it was quite easy. In 5 seconds, there's hardly enough time for your mind to even think about a problem. So you almost can't get into anything. The challenge with this meditation comes when you do it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour, because that's when your mind is going to start all of its complaints, all of its problems. It's going to start saying, this isn't really working, or you're not really doing it right, or this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or this isn't really meditation. Whatever it is that your mind is going to come up with, whether it's about your own shortcomings or the shortcomings of this practice or anything else, what you have to realize is that our minds have been trained to be problem-solving machines. And the first part of the process of solving a problem is identifying the problem. And that's what our minds do all the time. In every circumstance, in every moment, they seek out problems. Where are the problems? Where are we going to have trouble? And obviously, it's trying to help you. It's trying to help you avoid problems. The unfortunate side effect, though, is that it makes most of us incredibly neurotic, existentially uncertain, and full of tension. And that kind of existential tension, ironically, is not the best platform to engage with life. And the problem-free meditation system and this practice of no problem is designed to retrain us, not to retrain our minds, because our minds are going to keep doing what they do. They're going to keep making problems. But it retrains us so that we stop listening to every problem our mind throws at us, and we learn to engage with reality the way it is, rather than the way our mind keeps interpreting it. And that's really the power of this practice, and it creates a stability in our relationship to life that truly makes miracles possible. And so beyond the practice of no problem, I also feel that the problem-free meditation system answers so many of the kinds of questions and the kinds of challenges that meditators run into. And I'm going to share one with you now, and I intend to send you a couple of other videos where I'll share even more of the answers to those questions. But the question I wanted to share with you now is one that's very typical, which is that meditators will ask, how do I judge the quality of my meditation? How do I evaluate my progress in meditation? And they say, well, I'm meditating, and today my meditation seems good, and then tomorrow it doesn't seem as good, the next day it seems better, and the next day even better than that, but then the day after that it seems terrible, and I don't know if I'm getting anywhere. I'm taking 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. And what you learn in the problem-free meditation system is that the way to go about evaluating your meditation is not by looking at what happens in the meditation. This is where we so often go wrong. We're looking at our experience in meditation to try to evaluate how the meditation is going. We're looking at those 5, 10, 20 minutes, an hour that we're meditating, and trying to judge if today's experience in meditation was better than yesterday's. And what you learn in the problem-free meditation system is it really doesn't matter what your experience is during the meditation. That's not where you should be looking to evaluate the effectiveness of your practice. Where you should be looking is in the rest of your life. Don't worry about what happens while you're meditating. Look at the rest of your life. Look at how you're showing up in circumstances. Look how you are responding differently than you used to respond before you started meditating. How are you transforming? How are you becoming different because you're meditating? You can have your experience during meditation might not be anything that you feel is very valuable, but if you're changing in life then it doesn't matter. And your experience of meditation might be beautiful and blissful and wonderful and something you really think is great. But if you're not changing in life, if you're still making the same mistakes, tripping over the same problems, and not having any more space to handle the actuality of existence, then it doesn't matter that your meditation feels good. And that's what you're going to learn in the problem-free meditation system, is that it's not the experience you have in meditation that matters. It's the quality of attention that you're bringing to the meditation. That's what you're training. You're retraining yourself in a different quality of attention. And by doing that during the meditation, in a very focused way, you will see that your attention and what you pay attention to and what you're aware of and how you respond to life naturally starts to be different outside of the meditation. And that's the whole point. So that's a little bit about my own background, this particular approach to meditation, and at least one of the questions that it answers. And as I said, this is the first of what I imagine would be 3 videos. So over the next few days, you'll get 2 others. And in the others, I'll be sharing with you more of the typical questions that meditators have and how the practice of no problem addresses those. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I've certainly enjoyed producing it for you, and I look forward to sending you a different one in a couple of days. Thank you very much. So now that you've had a chance to hear a little bit about the problem-free meditation system, I'd love to have the opportunity to hear a little bit from you. I'd love to hear about your responses to this video, but also about your own experience in meditation. What challenges are you facing? What are the problems that you have? And also, what victories have you won? What are the insights that you've gained, the understanding? What do you have to share with me and with other meditators that might help us on our own path and our own journey? So at the bottom of this page, you'll find a comment section. I really want to encourage you to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I'll be reading them. I'll be responding to them. And I would love to open up a dialogue with you about this practice of meditation that will benefit all of us. So thank you very much.